Good to be with you. I'm Tony DeCopel. The breaking news right now. Deadly shootout. The Cuban government says it killed 4 people on a speedboat registered in the U.S. The calls for an investigation tonight into what a Florida congressman is calling a massacre. The Northeast still digging out from that historic blizzard, causing complications for first responders. And another big storm could be on the way. Rob Marciano with the timing and track. Also developing tonight, new battle lines for the midterm elections as Republicans cheer the president's State of the Union address and Democrats shout back.
Criminal aliens.
The president's new promises tonight and what they mean for you. Also tonight, our Live from America tour continues. We're in Baltimore, where Mayor Brandon Scott says he's got a comeback story for the ages.
That what has been said about Baltimore for a long time now is changing.
And the good stuff tonight, 3 guys in a moving van just sitting there blocking traffic and being heroes.
Heroes don't all wear capes, but sometimes they roll in with dollies.
Live from America, this is the CBS Evening News with Tony DeCopel, reporting tonight from Baltimore.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We're going to have more on this city's remarkable turnaround in just a moment, but we are watching that breaking news right now from the Caribbean. The Cuban Coast Guard killing 4 people today aboard a speedboat that's registered in Florida. The Cubans say they approached the boat off their north coast asking for identification when the people on board, described only as aggressors, opened fire first. All of this is being watched very closely, not only because of U.S. and Cuban history, but also present tensions, including a U.S. oil blockade on that communist island just 90 miles off the U.S. coast. Let's get right to correspondent Christian Benavides with what he's learning tonight from Miami. Christian, good evening.
Tony, good evening. Tonight we're hearing from Cuban officials after at least 4 people were killed on a U.S. speedboat after it entered Cuban waters. Cuba's Ministry of the Interior said the Florida registered boat was a nautical mile northeast of the El Pino Canal in Cayo Falcones when 5 Cuban border guard troops approached it for identification. Cuban officials claim those on board opened fire first, injuring a Cuban commander. Border guards, Cuba says, returned fire, killing 4 and injuring 6 others. The injured were evacuated and received medical attention. It remains unclear whether any U.S. citizens were on board the speedboat or why it entered Cuban waters. This incident comes amid already heightened tensions between Cuba and the U.S. as Washington has blocked nearly all oil shipments to the island and threatened tariffs on goods from any country that tries to ship oil to Cuba. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has confirmed the shootout and says that they are trying to get into Cuba to get access to determine whether any U.S. citizens were on board and, of course, to verify the information coming from the Cuban regime. Tony?
Watching it closely. Christian, thank you very much. Now to the ongoing struggle to clean up all of that snow in the Northeast. Days now after that historic blizzard, even with some areas getting hit with more snow today. Here's CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Tonight, millions of people are still digging out, having to endure another winter wallop this morning. For many, this season has become more than an inconvenience. Crews are still trying to restore power to communities throughout New England. Much of Cape Cod is still in the dark.
Here in Mamaroneck, New York, they've taken it to this parking lot, 30,000 cubic yards of it. This pile's over 15 feet high, and it's enough to fill 220 Olympic-sized swimming pools with snow.
Early this morning, firefighters rushed to the scene of a neighborhood in Taunton, south of Boston, where an explosion led to this house fire.
We're so used to so much snow, you don't expect fire. They had no idea where the fire hydrants were. That was a big concern, but, thank God we had Google Earth.
Neighbors said the storm hampered the firefighters' response. 2 people were rushed to the hospital.
We're impacted by the blizzard. Police department's having trouble getting around town. We're having trouble getting around town.
But even in a region accustomed to harsh winters, this storm is pushing limits. In Rhode Island, authorities are still trying to understand why this driver, with a car still covered in snow, attempted to get on the road. To the south, along the Jersey Shore, rescuers discovered this wayward seal on a snow-covered street and brought it to safety.
This winter certainly has everybody turned around. Happy to report that seal is resting comfortably in a wildlife facility. All right, still a very active pattern. Let's get right to it. We've got a couple more shots of either rain or snow, depending on where you are, over the next several days. The next one's coming in tomorrow, mostly a rain event for Kentucky through the Carolinas. The next one comes in Sunday, probably a snow similar to what we had last night and this morning in the same spots. Then another one likely Tuesday and Monday. Details a little bit sketchy there, but that ribbon across the Corn Belt through the Ohio River Valley and the Mid-Atlantic in the Northeast, that's where we have the greatest chances of seeing some more plowable snow. All right, in Denver today, we had a brush fire, a big-time scare in the northern part of the metro area, 10-acre brush fire with winds whipping to near 70 miles an hour, big-time warmth. Got it under control, thankfully, but fire danger is going to be high again tomorrow. Look at some of these numbers. Some of them are records today, and some of that warmth is going to try to creep off towards the Northeast, but it's not going to stick around. Maybe a little bit of melting come Saturday, but as mentioned, we have more chances for snow as we head towards the first day of March, which is technically climatological spring. Tony?
All right, Rob, thank you very much. To politics now, and if you stayed up for the president's State of the Union address last night, you witnessed history in at least one respect. It was the longest ever delivered, leaving both parties fired up. Here's senior White House correspondent Weijia Zhang.
The President of the United States.
Tonight, the White House is claiming a big win after President Trump's State of the Union address.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Trump insisted the economy is thriving.
We are the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Despite polls that show most Americans disagree, he also put patriotism on full display.
This is the golden age of America.
And in a series of attacks,
these people are crazy.
Trump accused Democrats of lacking it, even putting them on the spot with this line about immigration.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
A few Democrats fired back.
Criminal aliens.
Al Green of Texas was ejected early in the evening after waving a sign. While around 60 Democrats skipped the speech altogether, there were some bipartisan moments of celebration, a roaring round of applause for the U.S. men's hockey team.
The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
In the Democratic response, Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger claimed Trump has failed to deliver on the economy and attacked his personal behavior.
There's the cover-up of the Epstein files, the crypto scams, cozying up to foreign princes for airplanes and billionaires for ballrooms, putting his name and face on buildings all over our nation's capital. This is not what our founders envisioned, not by a long shot.
President Trump also talked about Iran, claiming the regime is rebuilding its nuclear weapons program despite being warned not to. The Iranian said Trump was repeating, quote, big lies. Another round of talks to try to reach a diplomatic deal is set for tomorrow. Tony?
Weijia, thank you very much. Another day, another round of notable figures continuing to answer for their connections to Jeffrey Epstein, including former Harvard president and U.S. Treasury Secretary Larry Summers and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. And both Bill and Hillary Clinton tonight are preparing to talk about Epstein in testimony to Congress. Justice correspondent Scott McFarland has all the new developments.
More big Epstein problems for more big names. Larry Summers, a former Clinton administration Treasury Secretary, says he'll retire from his remaining post at Harvard University after November's release of some Epstein files showed dozens of messages between the men, including one in which Epstein appeared to call himself Summers' wingman and talked about how Summers should approach a woman they both knew. Summers was not accused of wrongdoing.
Every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
Meanwhile, Bill Gates has apologized to the staff of his foundation after the files revealed Gates had met with Epstein years after Epstein's guilty plea to a sex offense. According to the Wall Street Journal, Gates acknowledged affairs with Russian women, but said, I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit. President Trump made no mention Tuesday night of the Epstein survivors or his Department of Justice's decision to withhold millions of pages of files from public review, despite the presence of survivors in the House chamber.
Did it surprise you there were no references to the survivors?
Goodness, I wish I could say it surprised me. and I was not surprised. Disappointed and let down, yes, but I wasn't necessarily surprised, unfortunately.
The top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee says documents from an Epstein survivor who reportedly accused Trump of sexual misconduct in the 1980s are missing from the publicly released batches.
So our question to the FBI and the DOJ is, why aren't the documents there? Why have they been removed?
The White House and the president say the president has been exonerated by the release of the Epstein files. The Department of Justice remains under fire for withholding or redacting an estimated 3 million of the 6 million pages believed to be in the files, Tony.
Scott, thank you very much. Today in Los Angeles, the FBI searched the headquarters of the city's school district as well as the home of its superintendent, Alberto Carvalho. And we just don't know why. The FBI told us all related court records on this are sealed. Today, President Trump's nominee for U.S. Surgeon General said America is, quote, angry, exhausted, and hurting, calling for a new focus on the root causes of disease. But Dr. Casey Means, a well-known critic of traditional medicine, may face a close confirmation vote because of her comments on vaccines. They save lives, she said, but added science is never settled. Childhood obesity is bad and getting worse, now at record levels in the U.S. The CDC reported today that more than 1 in 5 children and teens meet the criteria. That's up from 1 in 20 in the 1970s. Severe obesity, meanwhile, is now at 7%. That's up from just 1% a half-century ago. Now to America's gold medal winning USA hockey team. No, not the one celebrated at the State of the Union last night. The women's team, which also beat Canada, also in overtime, and yet has come home to just a fraction of the glory. Here's CBS News correspondent Jonah Kaplan.
2 Olympic gold medal teams, 2 very different celebrations. The men's U.S. hockey team received a hero's welcome. Members of the U.S. women's team already back on the ice, practicing for their various professional and college teams. Lee Steckline and Kelly Panic, decorated women's hockey Olympic players, said their absence was due to logistical challenges.
Do you want your own invite?
We want it to be about how great of an experience it was for us. You know, having 2 gold medals come out of USA Hockey, it's something we've never done before.
Their return from the Olympics was met with fallout from this viral men's hockey team call Sunday with the president.
I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
Absolutely. This afternoon, U.S. men's player Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah, we should have reacted differently. We know that we are so excited for the women's team. We have so much respect for the women's team.
Mutual admiration.
And how about from the men's team? Is it just one family?
Yeah, that's how it felt like over there. It really did feel like that, you know, full Team USA. And that's part of the great thing about being at the Olympics.
And while Olympic gold was nice, the goal is the impact on the next generation.
To increase the opportunity for girls to experience that. Would love if that's in hockey.
We also asked the women, are you going to go for a repeat in 4 years in France? They said, we're not thinking about that just yet, because for the players, they're more interested right now in the Paralympic Games. And they want the U.S. to go 3 for 3, another gold medal in Italy. Tony?
All right, Jonah, put on a pair of skates. Send us pictures. Still ahead, as we broadcast from Baltimore, our conversation with the mayor about what he calls the greatest comeback story in America. And 2 cars plunge into a sinkhole. We'll tell you what happened next. And later, the good stuff, a van full of heroes, what these movers did to save the day. We are continuing our Live from America coverage today. Behind me, one of Baltimore's most famous pictures, the iconic Inner Harbor. The city has another image as well, though, as one of the most dangerous in America, at least historically, something that has caught President Trump's attention on more than one occasion. But Democratic Mayor Brandon Scott says Baltimore is today a changed city.
All this was vacant property.
You wouldn't know it standing on this street corner today, but walk a few blocks with Mayor Brandon Scott, and there's no missing the problem. The city has thousands of these broken down, boarded up row houses, the result of a long civic spiral. People and businesses leaving, blight and crime moving in. What's the relationship between vacancies and crime and then population, people moving out or moving in?
Listen, when you have, it looks like someone doesn't care, right? People who want to do bad things are going to come.
But since 2019, when Baltimore's murder rate hit an all-time high and ranked among the worst in the nation, something has changed. The number of vacant buildings is down 25%. The population actually grew in 2024, and murders have hit a nearly 50-year low.
It's a 15-year, $3 billion strategy of how we're going to deal with vacancy in Baltimore, block by block.
President Trump, however, has held on to a far grimmer picture, declining Governor Wes Moore's recent invitation to walk the streets.
I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole.
Even floating the idea of sending in the National Guard, as he did elsewhere.
I deployed our National Guard and federal law enforcement to restore law and order to our most dangerous cities.
The president just last night at the State of the Union address said that he's responsible, his administration, for this massive reduction in murders nationwide. To that you say what?
Baltimore is responsible for Baltimore's. We have a strategy.
It's a strategy that includes targeting those most likely to commit gun violence, a strategy the neighbors here seem to be noticing.
What are they getting ready to build houses up there?
Yep, there'll be more houses built.
As blighted buildings come down and piles of illegally dumped trash gets picked up. Hold on, is that the guy you called?
Yeah,
the trash guy right now?
They're coming to pick it up right now.
In this case, just minutes after the mayor spotted them. It's a reversal the mayor hopes means an update to his city's reputation.
We are doing all of this together because Baltimoreans believe that we are the greatest comeback story in the country.
Up next, some exciting new activity spotted on the Eagle Cam in Big Bear Valley, California. The big reveal ahead in a moment. When you take something as tall as a skyscraper and start driving it around, you drive very slowly. We've sped up this video of NASA's Artemis II moon rocket being rolled off the launch pad for critical repairs. It was a 12-hour process. We're told it goes much faster in flight. Two drivers in Omaha didn't make the light recently, but that was the least of their problems. A sinkhole opened up, basically swallowing their vehicles. Gingerly and with a little help from bystanders, they were able to get out and warn other vehicles. Good people there in Omaha, less good asphalt. And good news as promised for one of America's favorite couples. The bald eagles at California's Big Bear Valley, Jackie and Shadow, have welcomed a new egg. Viewers of the bird's nest cam spotted the new addition yesterday. We're told a second egg is likely soon. Up next, the good stuff, some quick-thinking workers who helped rescue a kidnapped toddler. Stay with us. We are back with the good stuff, the story of a moving van not moving at all. The morning started like most for this three-man moving crew in Phoenix. A stop at Quick Trip for coffee and snacks, and a moment alone in the cab before work. A moment interrupted, mid-bite no less, by a knock at the window.
It said the lady's wearing like pink hats. The Amber Alert that went out yesterday?
It was one of their colleagues telling them that the store's security guard had spotted the suspect and a missing 3-year-old girl, the subject of an Amber Alert just 24 hours earlier, and needed help figuring out what vehicle she'd arrived in. The foreman, Ralph Volmert, sitting in the passenger seat, looked up the Amber Alert and confirmed it was the girl, and they identified the vehicle.
Oh my God, that's her.
Then someone had an idea.
Should I block this truck? Huh? Should I block them? Should block.
As they waited for police, the crew at one point even ignored the alleged kidnapper as she opened her door to see what the delay was.
Look, here comes the puppos right here.
The guys didn't stick around. They were already late for their first job of the day. But the customer didn't mind. After the police came, did you go on and have a normal day?
Yeah. They were completely understanding once they figured out why. They were like, you guys are heroes, you guys are heroes.
Tonight, we're happy to say the alleged kidnapper is in custody, and that little girl is back home with mom and dad. Aww. And so for perhaps the first time in American history, a moving van double parked blocked the way, and the word for that is not idiot, it's hero. Great job, guys. That's another day in America. I'm Tony DeCopel here in Baltimore. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at the Broadcast Center in New York City tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Good night.